I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and honestly, I'm just trying to get this off my chest because I'm still in shock. My wife Emily and I had been together for about 7 years. We weren't perfect, but I thought we had a pretty solid thing going. She's always been a bit bitchy, a little high maintenance, but I loved her, or at least I thought I did. Everything started to feel off, I guess. Little things. She'd be short with me more often than not, brushing past me like I was invisible. She'd cancel plans last minute or say she was too busy when I asked if she wanted to grab dinner or watch a movie. I'd ask her about her day, and she'd give me these vague, dismissive answers. It was like she was hiding something, but I couldn't put my finger on what. Maybe I was just paranoid, I don't know. Then came the funeral. My mom passed suddenly after a brief illness, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was devastated, of course, but I also tried to focus on being there. For my family. Emily came with me, but she seemed distracted. She was texting a lot more than usual, and I caught her once giving her phone a quick glance when she thought I wasn't looking. I brushed it off, thinking maybe she was just trying to be supportive or dealing with her own feelings. The funeral was a blur. I remember her holding my hand during the service, but her eyes kept darting around. I told myself maybe she was just upset that she was mourning, and that's why she was acting weird. But then the day after, things got even stranger. I was sitting in the living room trying to process everything when I noticed her phone sitting on the coffee table. I didn't normally check her stuff, but I got curious. I saw a series of texts under her messages app. The words weren't explicit at first, just casual banter, but the tone was off. The messages were from a guy named Jake, her coworker. They'd been texting all night, talking about work stuff, but then I saw the last few texts and my stomach dropped. They were flirty, not just friendly but flirtatious, the kind that makes your skin crawl. One message said, "Can't wait to see you tonight, missed you today." The next, "Maybe we can sneak out for a quick coffee after your shift." I froze, I couldn't believe what I was reading. My wife, my Emily, was cheating on me with her coworker, all while I was at home grieving my mom with tears in my eyes. And she had the nerve to send those texts after everything we'd been through. I felt a rush of anger and confusion. How long had this been going on? Was it the night of the funeral? Did she even care about what I was going through? The betrayal cut deep. I wanted to confront her right then, but I also needed to think. What do you say when your wife is lying to your face about everything, especially during your worst moment? But the thing that made my blood boil was the fact that she had been lying so blatantly, hiding this from me while I was vulnerable. I kept digging. I found her secret social media accounts, more messages, pictures of her and Jake out for dinners, even one where she was leaning into him like they were more than just coworkers. I felt like my world was crashing down. I kept asking myself, how did I miss all this? How did she manage to keep this hidden for so long? I couldn't believe I was married to someone who could lie so effortlessly, who could betray me during my mother's funeral. That moment, I swear, I felt like I was spiraling. After I found everything, I didn't sleep that night. My mind kept racing. I kept going over every moment, every sign I might have missed, every little thing that seemed off. I'd been blind, or maybe just too naive to see what was really happening right under my nose. The worst part was I realized she had been lying to my face all along. She'd been so good at hiding it. Her bitchy attitude, her coldness, the secret texts. All of it was her mask. I remember sitting there in the dark, clutching her phone like it was a weapon. I felt this deep, primal rage bubbling inside me. How could she do this to me? To my mom? Just days after her funeral, she was out screwing around with Jake. I honestly felt sick. I kept telling myself I should be angry, and I was furious. Not only at her betrayal, but also at myself for not noticing earlier. How did I not see the signs? How could I be so blindsided? I always thought Emily was the one I could trust, the one I could build a life with. Turns out I was just fooling myself. The next morning, I knew I couldn't stay quiet. I couldn't pretend everything was fine. I had to confront her. I needed answers. But I also knew this wasn't going to be easy. Emily always loved to be the one in control, the queen bee of her circle, always throwing those bitchy comments when she thought she was right. When I woke her up, I just told her I needed to talk, and her reaction was typical, defensive, dismissive, like I was bothering her. She rolled her eyes, said I was overreacting, and tried to brush it off as just work stuff, as if that makes everything okay. I threw the phone on the table and looked her right in the eyes. "Who is Jake, Emily? Don't lie to me. I saw the messages. I know what you've been doing." Her face twisted and she shot back with her usual attitude. "Oh, please, Mike, you're being paranoid. You think I'm cheating just because I was texting a coworker. Grow up." She laughed a little like she thought this was some kind of joke, but I wasn't laughing. I felt my stomach tighten and I could see her trying to act like she didn't care, like she was too good to be caught. I pressed her harder. "Are you sleeping with him? Is that why you've been so distant? You're screwing around behind my back and you think I do know. I saw the texts. I saw the pictures. You're lying through your teeth, Emily. Why? Why did you do this? Were you even ever really mine?" Her eyes flashed with anger and she spat back. "You think I'm the bad guy? Maybe if you weren't so busy working and ignoring me, I wouldn't have to find comfort somewhere else." That's when I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Her words cut deeper than anything. She denied everything at first, of course. Said it was all a misunderstanding, that Jake was just a friend, that I was reading too much into it, but I wasn't stupid. I knew better. I could see in her eyes she was lying, that she'd been caught in her own web of bullshit. The thing was, I didn't expect her to turn it around and blame me. That's her style, blame everyone else, act like she's the victim. But I wasn't going to let her get away with it. I told her I needed some time to think, that I wasn't sure what I could do anymore. And I left the house, walking out into the cold morning feeling like my world was shattering. In the hours that followed, I was just a mess. I didn't know whether to cry, scream, or just disappear. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and stupid for not seeing it sooner. How could I have been so blind? How could she have lied so effortlessly? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her texting Jake, her lying face, her bitchy smirk when she convinced me she was innocent. I didn't want to believe she'd been playing me all this time, especially not during the worst days of my life. But that's exactly what she did, and now I had to figure out what I was going to do next. After that confrontation, I pretty much went into survival mode. I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine, not after I'd seen proof that my wife had been lying to my face for who knows how long. I felt like I was walking around in a fog, trying to process how someone I trusted so deeply could turn out to be such a total bitch. The betrayal burned so deep I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and honestly I started questioning everything about our life together. Was she really just cheating on me, or was there more? Did I even know her? I started to notice more signs, small things she had been doing, like deleting messages off her phone, acting overly defensive when I brought up the simplest questions. I caught her deleting her browsing history, changing her passwords, and she even started to act more bitchy and dismissive, like she was trying to push me away before I could get too close. It was clear she was hiding something, and I could tell she knew I was onto her. That realization made me more furious, not just at her but at myself. How did I let her get away with this? How did I miss all the signs? One night, after a couple of drinks to calm my nerves, I decided I needed to dig deeper. I went through her social media accounts, her emails, anything I could find. I found even more evidence of her lie, more photos of her and Jake, suggestive messages, even some secret chats where she was talking about how much she wanted to escape with him. She'd planned little meetups, hidden from me, while I was at home, grieving my mother. That was the moment I knew. I couldn't stay with her anymore, not after this. I stayed up all night trying to think of what to do. The next morning I woke up with a clear plan. If she was going to lie and cheat and play me for a fool, then I was done being the fool. I decided I'd confront her again, but this time I'd be ready. I wanted answers, real answers. I wanted her to know I wasn't going to be manipulated anymore. I called her from work, told her I needed to see her. She answered with her typical bitchy tone, acting like she was the queen of everything, but I wasn't having it. I told her I knew what she's been up to and I was done playing her games. When she finally came home that afternoon, she looked annoyed, like I was bothering her. I was standing in the living room, my fists clenched, my heart pounding. I looked her right in the eyes and said, "Emily, I know you've been cheating on me. With Jake, right? I found the texts, the photos. Tell me, how long has this been going on? Were you planning to keep lying to my face forever? Her face twisted into that familiar sneer, like she was trying to act tough, like she was above it all. She crossed her arms and snapped, "Oh, please, Mike. You're overreacting. You're just insecure. Maybe I was just having a little fun. It doesn't mean anything." That's when I saw her for what she truly was, a manipulative bitch who thought she could get away with everything. I felt a mix of rage and sadness. Rage because she'd been so cruel, so dishonest. Sadness because I really loved her, and I never thought I'd be in this position. Broken. And betrayed. I told her I wanted her out of the house. I told her I deserved better, that I couldn't be married to someone who lied and cheated during my mother's funeral, no less. She looked at me with that bitchy smirk as if she thought she was winning, but I knew I was done. This was the end of the line. I told her, "If you want to have your fun, go ahead, but I'm not going to be your fool anymore. I'm done." And I told her to leave for good this time. That night I felt like I was living in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Every memory I had of us together haunted me. How many times had she lied? How many times had I missed the signs? The betrayal cut so deep I thought I'd never recover. I spent the next few days trying to piece my life back together, feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. But one thing was clear. I was done with her games, done with the lies. I'd never trust her again, and honestly, I didn't even want to try. The only thing that mattered now was moving on, even if it felt impossible. The days that followed were some of the hardest I've ever gone through. I felt like I was walking around in a daze, trying to hold myself together while my world was crumbling. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, that bitchy smirk on her face, the texts she thought I'd never see, the nights she spent with Jake while I was mourning my mother. It was all too much to process, too much to believe. How could someone I loved, someone I trusted, do something so cruel? I kept asking myself if I'd missed the signs, if I'd been blind or just too stupid to see what was right in front of me. I tried to keep busy, but nothing really worked. I'd go to work, put on a brave face, then come home and feel this crushing emptiness. That's when I started to realize how much I'd given her. My time, my trust, my love. And she'd thrown it all away for some quick sex and a little bit of excitement. I couldn't understand how she could be so bitchy and dismissive, lying through her teeth, acting like she was the victim when she was the one screwing around behind my back. Every day I woke up feeling more betrayed, more broken. One night I decided I needed to talk to someone who could give me real advice, someone who'd been through something similar. I reached out to a friend I trust, Mark. I told him everything: the funeral, the texts, the confrontation, her leaving the house. He listened quietly and then said something that stuck with me. "Mike, the only thing you can control now is how you respond. She's shown you who she really is. Don't waste your energy on her. Focus on yourself." It was harsh but true. I realized I'd been so caught up in the betrayal that I forgot about me. I forgot that I had worth, that I deserved better than a cheating wife who played me during my time of grief. The next step was figuring out what I was going to do about her. I was angry, yes, but I also knew I couldn't keep living like this, stuck in a loop of pain and regret. I started thinking about what I wanted. Did I want to try to fix things? No, not really. She had crossed a line I didn't think was possible to come back from. I knew I needed to focus on healing myself first, and that meant cutting ties with her completely. I told myself I'd file for divorce, put all that chaos behind me, and rebuild my life from scratch. But it wasn't just about ending it. I also felt a strange sense of relief. I've been carrying this huge weight of betrayal, and now that I'd taken the step to leave her, I felt a little lighter, like I'd finally started to wake up from a nightmare. Still, the pain lingered, knowing she'd been lying to me, sneaking around, disrespecting everything we had, especially during my mom's funeral. That was the part that hurt the most. How could she do it then? When I was vulnerable, breaking apart. It made me question everything about her character, her integrity. Honestly, I don't regret leaving. It's painful, yes, but I know I deserve someone who values me, someone who wouldn't cheat or lie during the hardest time of my life. I've started seeing a counselor to deal with the emotional fallout, stuff I never thought I'd need. And I've realized that some people, no matter how much you love them, just aren't worth the pain they bring. I guess the biggest lesson I've learned so far is that trust is fragile, and if someone shows you who they really are, you better believe them. Because once that trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to fix. And sometimes, walking away is the only way to save yourself. It's been a few weeks since I kicked her out, and honestly, I feel like I'm starting to breathe again, even if the air still feels pretty heavy most days. The initial shock and anger have settled into a dull ache inside, but I'm learning to live with it. I've been focusing on myself, going to the gym, reconnecting with friends, and trying to rebuild some sense of stability. Honestly, I don't think I've ever felt so humiliated and betrayed in my life. This whole experience has shaken me to my core, but I also realize it's made me stronger in a weird way. One thing I did do was dig into my feelings about her, about the whole relationship. I spent nights just thinking about all the times she'd been bitchy, dismissive, and sneaky. I kept telling myself I should have seen it coming, but I also realized I was so blinded by love that I ignored the warning signs. The texts, the secret social media accounts, her dismissive attitude during the funeral, those were all red flags I refused to acknowledge. I was so desperate to hold on to what we had that I turned a blind eye. That's on me, but it's also a lesson I won't forget. Now, I'm trying to focus on moving forward. I've started dating again, nothing serious yet, but just enough to remind myself that I'm still worthy of love and respect. The betrayal has left scars, but it's also forced me to reevaluate what I want out of life and a partner. I've come to realize that I don't want someone who lies or cheats, no matter how bitchy they can be. I deserve honesty, loyalty, and someone who values me, not someone hiding texts behind my back. Looking back, I honestly wish I'd seen the signs sooner, but maybe that's part of the process. Sometimes people reveal who they really are when it's too late. I've learned to listen more closely to my gut, to not ignore the little warning signs that scream red flag. Trust is fragile, and once broken, it's hard to rebuild. But I also learned that I have the strength to walk away from something toxic, even if it feels like the worst mistake I've ever made. Most of all, I've realized that I can survive this, that I will get through it, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. I may be hurting, embarrassed, and angry, but I'm still standing. I'm still here, and I'm still trying to put the pieces of my life back together. It's a long road, and I know I'll have good days and bad days, but I refuse to let this define me. My wife's betrayal taught me a hard lesson about trust, loyalty, and self-respect, things I won't take for granted again. And honestly, I just want to say to anyone out there going through something similar, don't be afraid to walk away. Sometimes that's the only way to save yourself. Looking back, I realize I've been through a hell of a lot in just a short amount of time. It's incredible how quick life can flip upside down when someone you trust turns out to be so fundamentally dishonest. I won't lie, I still feel the sting of betrayal every day. There are moments I catch myself wondering what I did wrong or if I could have somehow saved it. But deep down, I know that isn't right. The problem wasn't me. That bitchy, selfish attitude of Emily's was always there, hiding behind her pretty face and her "I'm better than everyone" attitude. This whole experience has taught me some hard lessons about trust and boundaries. I've learned that love isn't just about believing someone's words. It's about watching for their actions and how they treat you when it really counts. That night I found her texts. I saw who she really was: selfish, manipulative, and willing to betray her vows during one of the toughest moments of my life. That kind of betrayal cuts so deep, I don't think I'll ever fully forget it. But I also realize that forgiveness isn't about excusing her or pretending it didn't happen. It's about finally letting go of the anger and pain so I can move on. Now, I don't hold any grudges. I just accept that she was never the person I thought she was, and maybe that's a good thing. It's better to know the truth now than to keep living a lie. I've started to see a future without her, one where I can be honest with myself about what I want and deserve. I'm rebuilding my life piece by piece with clearer boundaries and a renewed sense of self-worth. If there's one thing I want anyone reading this to take away, it's this: don't stay in a toxic relationship out of fear or hope. When someone shows you who they really are, especially through lies and betrayal, believe them. Protect yourself because at the end of the day, you're the only one who truly has your back. And if you're hurting right now, just know that it gets better. Time heals wounds, and eventually you'll find peace again, even if it feels impossible right now. I may be broken, but I'm also stronger, and I know I'll come out of this better than I was before.